Artificial intelligence is not new, but it has made much progress recently. AI practitioners are now able to do a lot more and at a quicker pace to shape the way people live and work in cities. In Singapore, DBS Bank is predicting when employees will quit so management can intervene and retain staff. In Padang, West Sumatra, cell phones are mounted on trees that help to alert authorities to illegal activities by loggers in the forests. Now, the Straits Times tech team did an AI interactive package to look into the developments of the technology, including an AI quiz that focuses on the moral dilemma associated with the use of the technology. There is also a video that looks at cities which have embraced AI. Now, have a look at this short clip.
The fourth industrial revolution will be powered by a new frontier technology such as AI. Man-made machines learning from data are helping to build cities. From anti-logging safeguards to software-powered agricultural systems to assistive robots. We look at some Asian cities who are embracing AI.
All right, now to tell us more about this AI package as well as the quiz, I have with me tech editor Irene Tham. Welcome, Irene.
Hi, Irene.
Yes, and Irene, welcome back again because previously you did come onto the show as well and we spoke about tech stuff, but
yes.
Of course, being the tech editor. So, maybe Irene, if you can start us with briefly telling us what is artificial intelligence, because really, this word is bandied around, AI, but what does it really entail?
AI, in short, is the science of making machines intelligent by feeding them and allowing them to analyze massive amounts of data. It could be visual data, audio data, or text data. And human beings can do that too, but we can't do that quickly at scale, whereas machines can do that. So they are one up against us. Recent breakthroughs in tech allow machines to learn from things around them, and this means being able to predict outcomes by inference, and without being given step-by-step instructions. So by inferring, it's much like human beings, but still it's limited to certain specific tasks. So the holy grail of AI is Skynet in the movie Terminator, but we are still far away from that. And the brain of a child is the holy grail of AI too, but we're still far away from that. So the specific task that AI can do is, say, to the AI systems can do today is to identify, say, tumors or or the sound of humpback whale or chainsaws, for example.
And part of this AI interactive package that the tech team did together with the interactive team as well is an AI quiz that touches on issues with regard to AI or surrounding AI, the moral and ethical implications. Can you, just bring us through that as well, more on that?
Right. The main objective of the AI quiz is to expose readers to the idea of living with AI and expose them to some of the considerations that system implementers have to deal with when they design AI systems. We ask readers 6 questions, and most of the questions are based on real scenarios that are already taking place today. The first one is a hypothetical example, but still, I mean, it's a good, question to ask because eventually we will have to answer such a question. So the question that we dealt with, the hypothetical example, was that of a driverless vehicle. Whom should the driverless vehicle hit if it's on a collision course? So, whether they must be programmed, whether they should be programmed to choose who should live in a potential collision, the young or the old, many over a few, or choose between law-abiding bystanders or law-breaking jaywalkers. So that was the first question. And then subsequently, we ask questions that revolve around AI as a police, in surveillance, AI as a HR officer in identifying who we should promote and who should not be promoted, and who should we retain and who should not be retained, and AI as a health watcher, AI as a lifeguard, and AI as a money lender. So in all these instances, there's this underlying need for trust to be built. Trust that the data collected, whatever you do with the data, your business models will all be transparent to users and consumers, and that the right steps and enough steps are put in place to protect the data. There's a lot of there are some ethical frameworks today
Yeah.
that have been built around these issues, they are pretty conservative
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Yeah.
And so programming that kills or is forced to decide between who should live and who
Right, yes.
should die
Yeah.
Is forbidden today. The need for human intervention is needed
Still there.
for decisions like that.
And Irene, we are talking about ethical issues with AI, and you brought up, the classic example of the life and death issues. We also cannot deny that there are benefits to this technology, which, of course, in the video, there's been highlighted, right? Cities have embraced the use of AI to help with certain aspects of processes and all that. In your opinion, then, how far should we then go with this technology? What is enough? How do we say that, okay, we've benefited enough from this technology, this is the line, let's not cross it?
How far we should go with AI really depends on our appetite for risk.
Yep.
By looking at the ethical guidelines and frameworks that have already in place, I'll cite two examples. The one in EU, which is very wide in its breadth because it needs to cover all the EU nations and it needs to consider a lot of things. So it's very wide, and they have 7 key principles. One is human oversight. AI is supposed to empower human beings and assist in decision making, not to take over the decision making process. And another key requirement is technical robustness and safety, privacy, data governance, transparency, diversity and non-discrimination, societal and environmental well-being, and accountability. So these are broad principles in the EU guidelines, the EU framework. Singapore has also came up with its own ethical framework. It's a living document and it's evolving and it keeps changing depending on the requirements and our appetite for risk. And the Singapore framework has similar overriding principles, but it dives deeper with prescriptions on what are some of the things that can be done and cannot be done. For example, when human involvement is necessary, it depends on the severity of harm. For instance, if we're talking about just e-shops and recommendations engine, it's considered low severity of harm, and as such, the machine can take over the recommendation without human intervention. But where the severity of harm is high, for example, in medical diagnosis and also treatment suggestions, then human being involvement is necessary. Also in HR, human involvement is also necessary. They call it human in the loop.
Okay.
Right.
So that is based on those 2 frameworks, yeah?
Right, that's right. And also, in circumstances where the critical, safety critical or life and death situations, the human in the loop is definitely necessary. Nobody wants to give over control and the decision over who should live and who should die to a machine. No matter, how developed a society is, I think there are certain limitations that we don't want to give over control to machines, and which can be open to biases, and depending on the amount of data and the right type of data and what sort of data we feed the machine. And then there's this question also on accountability. Who is responsible for fatal consequences when machines fail, right? The victim, the driver, the system developer, or the service provider. Even the insurance industry is still working out and figuring out how this thing works. So I think we're still it was still many years before we can finally reach there.
And of course, I think the main takeaway, and you mentioned this as well, Irene, is that the thrust of it is trust.
That's right.
Right? Trust underpins the whole AI technology.
That's right.
Right? Once again, thank you so much, Irene, for coming onto the show to tell us more about the AI interactive package on our website, www.straitstimes.com. Of course, you can go on and even try the AI quiz to see how ready are we to live with AI, and of course the moral dilemma and the ethical implications that come with the technology. Now earlier on, of course, we spoke to our colleagues Vanessa as well as Arifin, who were immersing since Monday to cover the story about the Singaporean characters who have gone missing. Of course, one of the victims has already been found, and that is Madam Phua. And then Earlier on also, we talked to tech editor Irene Tham to share more on the AI interactive package that ST did, of which you can also find on our website. And we do see a lot of comments expressing condolences and of course thoughts and prayers to the family. Again, on behalf of the Straits Times, we'd like to express our deepest condolences and sympathies to the families who have been caught in the unfortunate incident. Once again, I'm Haryanto. Join us tomorrow for more stories on A Big Story.